and welcome. I did not have an intro, but I've given dioramas a second chance. The last time I did build a diorama, it was on Christmas, and it was kind of an Australian summer Christmas on a beach kind of thing, and that was a diorama with some wallabies around. It was more cute than anything. It wasn't really realistic, and I wasn't too happy with that build, and I realized that was probably because it didn't make sense for that to be a diorama really. I wanted to try it, and I wanted to have a definite border to what I was doing, but it didn't make sense for that to be a diorama really. So I was kind of like, okay, well, I guess I'm bad at dioramas, and never looked at it again. So obviously I did give it a second chance. This time we are building a jungle in a jar, I decided to call it, and this is obviously has to do with the tropical pack, but I had another big inspiration that I'm going to talk about in a few seconds. But overall, this is kind of the concept of, you know how people do these like little model landscapes kind of thing, and there's this trend where they do it in like cute jars and whatnot. So that was kind of, this is kind of what this is like, right now you actually see me starting on that glass jar that we're putting around it. I wish the glass was more see-through, which is a weird sentence to say, but it does kind of take away that the glass isn't like crystal clear in the game, if that makes sense. So but there's nothing really we can do about that, so I'll just remove it, I guess, to show it to you better from the outside. But overall, very much fun to build. Kind of reminded me of I have this thing where sometimes I really like watching people build like model train tracks. I don't know why. My dad used to do that when I was little, and we went to a lot of exhibitions with this model train stuff, and I quite like it. It's really cute. I love the love for detail that people have that do model train tracks, and I think you can learn a lot about landscaping and coloring stuff and from seeing that. It's not like something I do every day, but every now and then I remember that exists, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna watch some model train tracks. But the big inspiration and why I gave this a second chance and how I got to the point of having this idea was Leaf. So big shout out and big thank you to Leaf on YouTube. I'm sure you all know him, and he posted a video 11 days ago, looked it up, called the Caracol Desert Garden, and what that was essentially was this cube out of glass, like this glass cube, and it was kind of tipped over so that the sand from the cube was pouring out of it. Such a cool idea. I was so impressed with that. And I was like, okay, I want to do something like this. So my initial idea was to have a water bottle that was tipped over and the water was flowing out, which I could have done, but the problem with that is in Leaf's video he had sand pour out of it, which you can make out of terrain, but water is a bit more tricky in Platazoo, so I didn't realize that I couldn't tip over the bottle because we can't tip over the glass barriers that will keep the water in. So it had to be standing up, but that's fine. I still really like how it turned out. So I did consider breaking the glass, quote unquote, and having something pour out there, but that also didn't really make that much sense. Why would the bottle be broken there? And to me, water, big jars, they have super thick glass usually. That doesn't really happen. To me, nothing makes sense about that. So I just kept it inside. No, nothing broken, nothing's pouring out, everything's contained. And made that out of that. And obviously it was really much fun to do because, like I said, it reminded me of model train stuff, and it was so much fun to do. And especially the terrain paint, I think I'm really happy with it. It should be, we already did some of it before in this video, and now we're actually on with the glass jar. There's a bit of a cut there because it took a while to have the top border right. It's also not really done super nicely, I'll admit. It's a bit hastily of a job there, and I did prepare all of this when I knew the next pack was going to be tropical, but I did do the part that you've seen so far I did do before the pack was out, and so everything you see now I did build yesterday when the pack came out, and I did this is also why this video is a day late, because if you've not seen it, yesterday I did do a blind reaction to the pack. I didn't look at anything that was gonna be in the pack beforehand, so yesterday I actually had my honest first reaction to everything, which is a long video but hopefully a bit funny, so if you want to check that out, that was yesterday. And so after that I got into building, and now I'm editing, and I hope that I'll be done before I have to go to work. So yeah, but I was excited and I wanted to be out today because obviously yesterday you didn't get a build from me, and now today you do, and I think I will probably squeeze in some more builds, even though that's super stupid of me because I barely have the time to actually post. So it will be a lot of long nights, but I have so many ideas that I want to get out from this pack, so I want to do it now that everyone's still hyped about it, and do that. So yeah, that's kind of my plan, and I hope I'll get the time after work today to do another build. And obviously, you know, editing has to happen at some point, but if I have the build done, editing is the smaller time thing. But it's also hard if you are very inspired to build and it's just like you want to go straight to the next thing, but then editing comes, so that's definitely there, but I'll do it. But yeah, so now I think we have the time to talk a lot about foliage, because there's not much else going on in this other than foliage, but I did take the time to do pretty detailed foliage this time, and I actually remembered to use those like root things growing out, and I never do, and I always look back and think, should have put in the roots. Yeah, I did do that this time, and I quite like how it turned out. I said that before. So with the foliage, I have to say, and I did say that in my initial reaction video, I did expect more foliage from the new pack, to be honest. Like, Tropical to me has plants, and there was barely any. So I technically wouldn't really have had to wait to build this. Like, I could have built this beforehand, so I barely used anything from the new pack. I have to say, I did expect to use more, but there just wasn't that much. I did use some of it. I did use the plant, I don't remember what it is called, but it's just a few little leaves growing out of like a little bush, but not lush or anything, and I think that it kind of looks like a melon plant. Like, if you've ever seen a melon, it looks so out of place because it's these few little poor sad leaves and this giant melon that just lays on the ground. And I think they look so funny. So I did kind of emulate that with the scenery piece melon and the new plant, and then also I did use those plants that grow on walls, and I did use it on this little like cliff thing. But yeah, overall a lot of foliage work, honestly. And I'll be honest about this, I'm not sure I will put in an animal. I did put in a gate, but this was not built with any animal in mind, just that it had to climb because this is all very steep and stuff, so I might put an animal in for the like final tour, but honestly it's not the focus of this. I'll be honest about it. I just wanted to do this like diorama situation here, and I did. So yeah, but that's also why the foliage doesn't really have any like, you know, this isn't inspired by any specific geographical area. I just wanted it to be tropical and that, you know. But I'd have to say, like, with the cliffs and everything, it kind of reminds me of Pirates of the Caribbean. So that is the only thing I can really say that it reminds me of. But that wasn't planned. It was just like something that when I was building, at some point I was like, oh, yeah, that reminds me of that. And yeah. I wish we had some taller trees. I wish we had some more trees that I could have had stick out of the top of the jar, without the lowest part of the jar being literally just earth. I had to shorten the jar in the end of it because it would have been so much dirt, and I think now it is actually the perfect amount of dirt. So yeah, we have this little cave over here, which I decorated. I'm sorry if you could hear that. That was my water bottle. I decorated out this little like cave tunnel water situation here, which I think this would have been kind of like an air hole, I guess you would say, like air bubble underground, and I don't know. I'm sure that realistically nothing would grow there, but I think it looked cool from decorating it. I also took the time to decorate some of the underwater area, not too much, because I think that you kind of never really look at it, but I was so ashamed because I did this built for Savannah's contest, and it was a swamp, and I didn't decorate the underwater area, and she dove down and looked at it, and it wasn't decorated. I was like, I should have decorated underwater. So now I kind of did. I also did add a little bit of an Easter egg there for anyone who watched my reaction video to the new pack. I did just the last thing that I do in the speed build is it's a bit of a nod to that, so just maybe watch that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still very excited about the pack. I think this is one of the packs that the more I think about it, the more actually inspiring it is. And I didn't quite expect that. So right now you can actually see me kind of, making this border, both the different terrains and also the what do we would call it, the floor of the lake or something, kind of make it blend in a bit more with the rocks. I didn't want it to go overboard. I didn't want it to be like a ring of rocks, but it just to make sure that it was clear that all of this belongs together, I guess. I did put those rocks there, and while I was editing this, actually, I had this thought that that we should put a fossil there. Like, put a fossil somewhere. Right now I'm doing this little terrain paint thing and like everything. Why didn't I think of it before that we could put like a fossil or something just like into the earth, like visible from where the cut of the diorama is? And so I thought I'll do the YouTubey thing. I've never done that before. But if you get this video to 30 likes, I can't believe I'm saying this. This is so dumb, but I wanted to do it, okay? So if you get this video to 30 likes, which is, I checked my numbers, it is possible for this channel, but still a goal to reach, right? So if you can do that, then we can put a little fossil into the earth. And we will just do that. It will be a small little video to the side, and yeah, that is that. So something that I did while I was talking about the fossil thing there was put in a little waterfall, which I'll admit it was kind of an afterthought, and I was almost like, how was I so stupid and not think of a waterfall for this? But I did think it looks really cool. I'm a big lover of the aquatic pack waterfall. To me it looks so much better, and it's so much easier to use also than the special effects waterfall, which can be good for some things, but if you just want a small little water feature, I think that the aquatic pack waterfall things are so much better. I wish they came in more sizes though. It's sometimes hard to cover that up, cover the stuff up. Like I wish we had a smaller version, a shorter, all of that, so that would be great. But I guess we also have the custom custom set of special effects, so can't really complain too much. But that would be really cool. And yeah, some more rocks and some more bushes. This is something that I kind of want to do. I kind of want to talk more about foliage in like a dedicated video, but for this I just want to say, think about how lush the biome that you're building in is and how man-made it is. Obviously this is, so if this is a model, it's sort of man-made, but it is supposed to represent something that isn't man-made, like a natural jungle. So this would be very lush and overgrown. A jungle is very full of water and good earth and whatnot. So if you're building a desert, obviously you don't have to go overboard, but nowhere in nature is it ever just like clean cut. Like you can always do little bumps with the terrain, little variations with the terrain paint. You can have small super small things sunken into the ground, or just like dead plants you can also do, and rocks and sticks and stuff like that. Stuff flows around everywhere, so whatever you're decorating, I think it's always good to have some like grass sticking out, unless it's like a tundra or a desert. Okay, we're gonna not, those are kind of special, but other than that, there's always grass, there's always sticks, there's always stones, and there's always different terrain and little bumps in the terrain. So if you do something natural, that is, a very generalized tip on what you can do there. And but if you want a dedicated video, I know Pearly wants one. They said it before, and so yeah, and I did take notes already on what I would want to say to that, but yeah. I also don't want to, come in and say like, oh, here's my expert tips, because there's people who do it way better. But if you want to know, then sure. That was so awkward. I don't know why. But this is also one of my favorite things to do foliage with is these like small palm trees, and I always sink them down to use them as ferns. And I think ferns are just beautiful, both in real life and in the game, and they're just like the perfect size to kind of fill in a small corner without being a big tree, and it covers some ground, but it doesn't add to quote unquote the skyline of the nature, if you will. Like it just has the perfect size, it feels lush, it looks beautiful. So I really love using these as ferns, and they're so much prettier than the ferns that we have as ferns. And so that is also one thing, like a very general tip for foliage work is if you aren't super into the realism and using plants as they are intended and as the species of plant that they are described to be, then just play around with them, sink them into the ground, pull them out of the ground, add them to other things, and just use them in a way that you think they could be pretty. So that was the melon thing that I was talking about, by the way. And then in a few seconds you will see me play something that is a bit of a nod to my reaction videos. So I'll leave you with some music for that, and then we're gonna do a quick real-time part tour of this, maybe with animals, maybe without. I'll see you then. I'm done. I just started recording without my mic. Okay, so here we are. Let's actually unpause it again. I did put some little animals in there, and you're gonna see them. They can't really traverse a lot of it, but that's okay. So let's actually look at it from outside, from here. I think this looks really, really cool. Like I said, I wish the glass was more see-through, but it is what it is. We'll actually remove it in a second, but that's kind of our jungle in a jar. You can barely see from the cave because it's obviously dark here. But also the sun looks really good when it gives shadows onto the glass. But that always looks really good in this game, so let's actually go in and look at the waterfall here. This little bridge obviously is kind of Asian, and but that's the only thing really. I just really wanted to have a pre-made bridge, because I first wanted to use a bridge from the Twilight pack, and it didn't really fit this obviously, and I remembered that this bridge exists, so I just put it there. Doesn't really serve much of a purpose, but yeah, we have this right here. This is really just the backside. It's poking through a bit. I tried to catch everything that was poking through, but missed some little things there, here and there, but I think that's okay. I didn't really plan any way for the animals to get down to the water, otherwise I would have liked to have something swim down here, but that wasn't really the point. I just wanted to have this like beautiful greenish blue water, which always I think makes everything so much prettier. And yeah, this tree I think I've never used before, and I used it a couple of times in this. Let's actually see. I have no idea what that is called in English. Well, was worth a try. But yeah, we see our two keepers stuck over here because I deleted the paths. Beautiful. And then down here, I'm sure we will find some life other than the melon. There is a little gibbon here, and I actually mixed the largibbons and the siamings for this because I did not know this before, but they do have a species in what's it called? Like if you took enrichment. That's the word I'm looking for. So they really love this one palm tree. They're not really using anything up here. I might try to give them some more. I should have given them more of these like vine thingies to walk on, but they can use this one, which is very cool, and they sure love to use it. They can also branchiate down here, which is cool. That is one of the new things in the pack. They can actually hang there. They can branchiate. It's cool. And yeah, obviously cool with this backdrop here and everything. So yeah. I quite like how this turned out. I do quite enjoy the height elevations of everything. Even though they can't go up there, I think it looks still cool. I'm so glad I thought of the waterfall. It's at so much. But yeah, I think that's all. We can actually try and have a walkie walk, which I don't think will work all that well. But let's actually look around here. Go under. This is also one of my favorite viewpoints from here, to look down at the water and the foliage in the water and everything. So let's try and climb up here. Again, nice view. With the shaking little palm trees. Okay, so this is where we would get stuck. Well, I kind of expected that. So, yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think of this. Let me know if you enjoyed this. It was kind of different than what we usually do, but what's it called? The tropical pack doesn't really fit into any of my ongoing zoos, I guess, all that well. So, this little like break from it was very much fun for me, and I hope it was fun for you as well. So thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you around another time. Bye!